Greetings, YouTube. We have a very fast hotfix patch that has come out today, December 16th. The new season began on December 10th, so 6 days later, they made a very small adjustment to a couple of things. This is called a hotfix patch, specifically because these are numbers they can like push out to all platforms, PC, console, without like an official update and everything. It's all baked in, so it should be pretty quick for you guys to update and play the game. So first thing they're going to do is they're actually nerfing tanks, nerfing Hazard specifically, the only tank. The ultimate cost for Downpour is going to be increased by 13%. Takes a little bit longer to build up. I think if you guys watch any of the pro matches of, was it OWCS Face It, every single team was playing Hazard. During the playtest weekend, 3 weeks ago, he was bad. And I agreed. He wasn't bad. He was like low B tier in my opinion. I thought he was very underwhelming. He didn't do anything particular like better than, he didn't do anything in particular better than what another tank could do. And then on release, December 10th, 6 days ago, they buffed every single one of his abilities for the most part. Everything got so buffed that now he is being played everywhere. And now it's like a little too good at what he does. So they are nerfing the ultimate cost because ultimates build faster as a byproduct of buffing all your other numbers. So if his burst damage or his rotation or the jagged wall or anything does more damage, his ultimate builds quicker. So this was a nerf in accordance to it because it feels like he's overperforming right now. And in my few games I played on Hazard last week, I was absolutely farming people. This guy's actually like pretty good right now. So I think this nerf is fine, and they're still testing the waters because he has a very high skill ceiling. I think your average player may not even notice that he's like that good. They may feel like he gets countered a little too easily, but I do think on the high end he was starting to like become a little bit of an outlier and starting to do a little too well, so this is fine. Now Sojourn is the only other thing being changed here. Primary fire shots per second, like the is going down from 16 to 15. This is pretty unnoticeable for most people. That's the if I told you guys how many rail shots you shot per second without looking it up before reading this, 99% of you guys would have no idea how long it would take to empty your clip. It's not the damage per. It is, I mean, it's pretty, I would say it's pretty unnoticeable. If from 16 to 15, this is like a 5% change on the holding down the button. And the time you hear the that's not very noticeable. I sat in the range earlier and I didn't feel it. So this is not the big change. The bigger change is this disruptor shot, no longer generating energy, which is an interesting walk back to what they wanted to do. They wanted to add more power into disruptor shot and other aspects of her kit, not the actual rail hit scan shot itself, but to like, you know, make it more interplay with the disruptor shot generating energy, the primary fire generating energy, and then doing a rail not at 120 but 100 base damage. So I thought it was like at an okay place. She saw a little bit of playtime in that version of her at the end of the tail end of the OWCS. The last patch 6 days ago, they buffed the rail shot from 100 to 120, which everyone went like, whoa, myself included. And it looked like she was overperforming already, and they already nerfed her right now. So this is the biggest nerf here. This one's pretty negligible. Overclock energy rate reduced from 120 to 100 per second. This one is noticeable, but overclock is already a pretty strong ultimate. I think you just build like one less overclock shot. It's definitely not as like go, go, go. You definitely have to maybe sit and wait for your shot anyway. In order of the biggest nerf, this one to this one, and then this one. All in all though, I will say she still keeps the 120 rail, but the uptime of getting that 120 rail isn't going to be as frequent anymore because disruptor shot no longer builds it up. So this is a pretty hefty nerf overall. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to cover is actually more context that Alec Dawson added. So Alec Dawson is the lead hero designer or balance designer. What's his title? Lead gameplay designer on Overwatch 2. And he tweeted out a lot more context here for reasons why they did what they did for their patches. I was like, why don't they just put this in the patch notes for extra dev notes and stuff? But then I do realize like if you want to get some quick thoughts out there, it's easy to like tweet something out because it's your own thoughts, and then have like the community do their thing and like send it out towards like Reddit and all the other people and creators like us amplifying the message. When you make official patch notes, it has to go through a lot of hoops and hurdles and go through language localization. So if you really want to get some quick thoughts out there, it takes too long. Maybe something could be said about putting this out earlier last week for context, but this is something that they probably noticed in the first 6 days. And for a quick hotfix patch like this, no time when time is of the essence of a bigger patch tomorrow. So I get it. Mortdog in TFT does the same thing. I saw this where like there's certain data on augments and stuff because I play TFT a lot, Teamfight Tactics, another game. Right, Mortdog's our lead dev, and he puts out like tweet thoughts really quickly on stuff. And there's like a Reddit post and like, why isn't this in the patch notes? Some of them should be in the patch notes, but the other reason why is like he said it has to go through language localizations and all these kinds of steps before I can get quick information out. So that's one of the reasons why they do it here. So the patch today, Sojourn is to see some nerfs, slight nerf to Hazard's ultimate cost. Here's how this patch has looked so far in the last 6 days on Masters Plus on PC. Tank. Hazard landed fairly well. Safe side of strong. Originally had similarities to Winston on console, which means hard to turn around, so I guess the analog stick stuff affects how well he does, but that has picked up. The bottom 3 tanks this season in Masters Plus on PC are Orisa, Mauga, and Roadhog. The big 3, believe it or not. Orisa buff was intended to keep her low, and it did. So they did buff Orisa at the beginning of this last week, and everyone was freaking out, myself included. They slightly buffed armor. I mean, it wasn't even that big, and the Terra Surge pull radius wasn't going to be that marginal. It wasn't going to be that big. Slightly nerfed Mauga here. Roadhog wasn't really touched, but the data says these are the worst 3 tanks in the high ranks. And these are the people, influencers like myself, who are telling you these heroes are like meta or whatever. They're not that good. Reinhardt is actually on the rise right now as Hazard usage gets to a more stable level. Most heroes and most tanks are slightly down in survivability due to the DPS passive increase. That's right. There was a DPS passive change last week on this patch where I think it lasts longer, right? Where is it? Yeah, the debuff duration lasts from 2 to 3 seconds, and the reduction was slightly increased from 20 to 25%. So Ryan is on the rise here. So the damage. So one of the reasons why they nerfed Sojourn. The hit scan is slightly down in lethality due to the radius nerf. That's right. Global hit scan reduction. Sojourn is at one of her strongest states right now since launch, ever since the giga buffs they gave her last week, which again increased the rail damage from 100 to 120, where high-level Masters Plus players can take advantage of. So that's why they nerfed her. They don't see the gulf in performance that used to exist as much between the low and high ranks because they made the primary a little bit better. Torbjorn is still an outlier on console at low ranks, keeping an eye on it. Widowmaker, Ashe, Cassie, and Reaper are falling a bit due to placement in the meta. Sojourn's current power is warping the variety in both damage and support roles. Probably still in reference to the Masters Plus thing, right? So Widow, Ashe, Cassie, Reaper fell as a result of Sojourn with the rail change here for the high level players. And then for the supports, they said not too much change here, but Mercy, Kiriko, and Ana continue to gain popularity as Juno continues to have a downtrend. Lucio survivability up despite the DPS passive increases. His crossfade buff more than making up for it. I clicked by accident. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. This makes sense though, indirectly, with high level players always picking Sojourn. Mercy having an uptrend because of the damage boost. Pocketing 120 damage with the 30% boost puts it at what is that referenced? What, I can't do quick math. I did this last week. What's 120 times 1.3? 156. Jesus Christ. 156 damage per rail, and that's why that was getting played a lot. Kiriko was buffed at the end of the previous season in November, I think mid-season 13. And I remember I was playing a lot of Kiriko at the end because Juno got slightly nerfed at the end of that. And yeah, Kiriko getting played makes sense to me. Mercy Kiriko as a duo was like the Sojourn meta back in the day. Oh, sorry, 1.5. 1.3 is Mercy's damage boost. Sorry, I should have done a headshot for rail, which is 180 times 1.3. Sorry, I forgot to do 120 times 1.3. It's 120 times 1.5 for the headshot first, and then times 1.3. But I guess the body shot Mercy multiplier would be 156 anyways. And then Ana getting uptime because Juno's going down and down, because the Mauga and Orisa not performing too well, so people are running less Brawl in ranked. People are running a lot of Hazard in ranked, and like playing Ana is almost essential when you're playing against another Hazard right now, because he leaps in a pretty predictable arc and you sleep and anti him and he does get, you know, shut down pretty easily. Ana's a great choice to play against Hazard, so that's why all these trends seem to continue. So I do think Alec's context here makes a lot more sense and rationalizes why they make the changes where they do, despite what the community says, despite what I even said last week. I'm like, bruh, why are they buffing like this hero and that hero? Once you see it like this, it makes more sense. I just do wish this bit of context would make it into patch notes, so to alleviate the tensions between the community and what the devs are deciding to do. Some are still questionable, like some changes, but the others, I get where they're coming from specifically because of that. But, you know, I will say I did not like the patch when I read it last week. And to be fair, I haven't played it that much. I've been playing a lot of Rivals as well, so I don't really know how to feel too much about it because I played 2 ranked games. That's it. And the rest were Vera games, Hazard games, which I will say I was enjoying Hazard. So I got nothing to say. Interesting to see if like Sojourn's still top pick, but at 120 rail, like she never used to have Disruptor Shot like build up anyways, so like 120 rail seems like a pretty good reason to continue playing Sojourn, but maybe a little bit less with this nerf today, and still seeing too much Ashe and probably Cass and Widowmaker and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it on today's patch. Tomorrow, you have to make sure you tune in because that is going to be the modern 6v6 222 role queue test that they've been teasing and talking about since forever, where like almost every hero is going to get a patch change for that mode specifically to see how like modern Kiriko and Hazard and Junker Queen and Mauga would work in that game mode. Okay, too much yap. Goodbye. That is all. Peace.